My husband is at a rooftop bar right now, toasting his new girlfriend with a bottle of Vive Clicquot I paid for, while I'm sitting in my attorney's office signing the paperwork that will leave him explaining to a federal investigator why he thought our joint savings account was his personal piggy bank. He doesn't know I know about the bar. He doesn't know I know about her. He doesn't know I've known for 7 months. My hand is steady as I sign. 15 years of marriage and my husband still thinks I'm the soft-spoken pediatric surgeon who gets squeamish at board meetings. He forgot, or maybe never bothered to learn, that before I became Dr. Hartley's wife, I was Dr. Serena Okafor, the woman who finished her residency, paid off her own med school loans, and built a practice from a leased office and a folding table. The same woman who, 3 years into our marriage, put her name on the founding documents of his real estate development firm because he needed the capital and the credit history. He forgot that part. He always did. Are you sure about the timing? My attorney asks. Her name is Judith, and she has the tired eyes of a woman who has seen every possible flavor of marital disaster. She's watched me walk in here over the past 6 months carrying folders, USB drives, printed spreadsheets. She stopped questioning my preparation around month 3. I turn my phone toward her. My husband's Instagram story, posted 4 minutes ago. Him and a woman I know as Tara, his project coordinator at Altair Rooftop. He's grinning the way he used to grin at me. She's wearing a bracelet I recognize because I have the credit card statement showing the $2,200 charge at Tiffany's on a Tuesday afternoon when he told me he was meeting with contractors in Charlotte. The timing, I tell Judith, is perfect. My phone buzzes. A text from my husband. Hey beautiful, late dinner with the Hargrove investors. Don't wait up. Love you. I save it. I've saved every text like this for the past 7 months. Each one sits in a folder on my phone next to the corresponding paper trail, hotel charges, restaurant receipts, wire transfers, and one particularly interesting series of Venmo payments to a Shell LLC that my husband registered in Delaware 2 years ago under a name that means nothing to anyone except me, because I'm the one who does the taxes. What he doesn't know is that I stopped doing the taxes the way he thought I was doing them about 8 months ago. Judith slides another document across the desk. This one freezes the joint accounts and flags the LLC for review. Once you sign, the bank processes it automatically Monday morning. I think about this morning. He kissed my cheek before leaving. He smelled like the same cologne he's worn for 15 years, and he told me not to forget that we had dinner plans with the Nguyen's on Saturday. I nodded. I smiled. I watched him back the Land Rover out of the driveway, and I went back inside and opened my laptop and confirmed for the final time that every document I needed was in order. I sign. My phone lights up. Tara's Instagram story. She's tagged the bar. She's captioned it finally with a little diamond ring emoji. I screenshot it, note the timestamp, and add it to the folder. Then I pick up my pen and sign the last page. My best friend Rebecca shows up at my house that evening with Thai food in her laptop. She's a forensic CPA who spent 8 years at the IRS before going private. She is also the person I called 7 months ago, shaking, when I found the first hotel charge, and she talked me off the ledge by saying, "Don't react, document, then we'll figure out what he actually has." What he actually has, it turned out, was quite a lot of things that were technically mine. The Delaware LLC received another transfer, she says, settling cross-legged on my kitchen floor surrounded by printed bank statements. $43,000 wired from the development firm's operating account. That's the 4th one this quarter. The development firm. Our firm, legally. My name is still on the founding documents. My husband added himself as sole managing partner 2 years ago. I signed those papers at dinner. He slid them across the table between the salad and the entree, said it was just a formality for the bank, and I signed because I trusted him. I read them later. I always read things later. And the Tara situation? I ask. Rebecca pulls up a tab on her screen. She's listed as Director of Business Development for the LLC, salary of $6,000 a month. For what exactly? As far as I can tell, for existing. I pour us both a glass of wine, the good kind, the bottle I've been saving. It felt right to open it tonight. Rebecca has been helping me for 4 months now, working evenings and weekends, not because I asked, but because she offered and because she is the kind of person who, when she sees something wrong, cannot let it sit. She's the one who found the offshore account. She's the one who cross-referenced the wire transfers with Tara's Venmo activity and confirmed what I already suspected. The money wasn't just going to Tara. It was funding a lifestyle my husband was building without me, brick by brick, month by month, while I covered the mortgage, the groceries, the kids' tuition payments, and the health insurance for a family that apparently only existed on paper. We have 2 kids, by the way. My son is 19 and at Clemson. My daughter is 16 and still at home, still asleep upstairs right now, still thinking her father travels a lot for work. That part is the part I don't let myself think about too hard on nights like this. Are we ready? I ask. Rebecca closes her laptop. We've been ready for 6 weeks. You're the one who wanted to wait until he made his move. She means the ring emoji. She means the Instagram story. She means whatever announcement my husband is apparently planning to make, not realizing that I've been watching him plan it the way a chess player watches their opponent reach for a piece they don't know is already lost. I want him to feel it. I want him to feel the ground go out from under him at the exact moment he thinks he's standing on solid ground. Monday, I say. She raises her glass. Sunday is an exercise in performance. My husband comes home smelling like expensive whiskey and a perfume that isn't mine. He brings pastries from the good bakery downtown, his guilt offering, same as always, and makes coffee and sits at the kitchen island scrolling his phone while I make breakfast. My daughter comes down in her pajamas and eats without looking up from her own phone. A perfectly ordinary Sunday in the Hartley household. He tells me the Hargrove dinner went well. I ask the right questions. He fills in details that have nothing to do with Hargrove, because there is no Hargrove dinner. But he's practiced this long enough that the details are smooth and specific and almost convincing. Almost. Big week ahead? I ask, refilling his coffee. Huge. The Lakewood project closes Friday. Could be the biggest deal we've done. The Lakewood project. I know exactly what the Lakewood project is because I spent 4 hours on Thursday reviewing the development firm's operating agreement, which still has my name on it, which means I still have access to the project files, which means I know that the Lakewood project is 48 residential units in a mixed-use development, and that the financing was secured partially through a loan my husband took against an asset that is technically and legally mine. That's wonderful, I tell him. You've worked so hard. He squeezes my hand. I smile. Years of practice. After he leaves for his Sunday golf game, which I know is not a golf game because I've seen the hotel charge that posts every Sunday between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., I go upstairs to the home office I've been using as my war room for the past 2 months. My college roommate Diana joins me via video call. She's now a senior agent with the IRS Criminal Investigation Division. We've been friends for 23 years. When I told her what I'd found, she was quiet for a long moment and then said, "Send me everything. Do not tell him you know." I sent her everything. Is Diana's team in position? Rebecca asked from the doorway. She confirmed yesterday they flagged the LLC for a routine audit. It runs automatically Tuesday morning. And the firm? Same. The operating account triggers a review the moment the divorce petition is filed. Rebecca comes in and sits next to me. We go through the final checklist, every account, every asset, every transfer I've tracked back to its source. The offshore account my husband opened in his name only, which Rebecca traced through a series of wire transfers from the LLC, each one just small enough to avoid automatic reporting thresholds. He was careful. He just wasn't careful around someone who spent a decade auditing exactly this. Kind of careful. My phone buzzes. A group text from our couple's friends, the Mercer Paddles, the Okantuos, the Bells. My husband has started a thread. Big announcement to share. Dinner at Harrington Saturday? On us. Congratulations pour in before I can even set my phone down. Our friends, who don't know, who have been kind to me at every dinner and every backyard party and every school fundraiser, who have watched my husband put his arm around me and have no idea that he has been quietly dismantling our life for 2 years while I stood there smiling. I screenshot the thread. I add it to the folder. Becca looks at me. You okay? Ask me Tuesday, I say, and go back to the checklist. Monday morning. My husband wakes up in a good mood. He showers, dresses, hums something I don't recognize. He's wearing the watch I gave him for our 10th anniversary, a Rolex Submariner I saved for over 2 years to buy, back when I still thought the gesture would mean something. He has a big investor presentation. He's been preparing for weeks. The Lakewood project close, the new investors, a full room of people he's been courting for months. He kisses me goodbye at the door. I tell him good luck. I watch the Land Rover pull out of the driveway. I close the door. Then I open my laptop. 8:51 a.m. Judith files the divorce petition at the courthouse. 8:52 a.m. The joint accounts flag for review. 9 a.m. The operating account at the development firm triggers an automatic audit notification. 9:04 a.m. Diana's team begins their review. I watch the confirmation emails arrive one by one, like dominoes, like the slow, satisfying topple of something that was never as stable as it looked. My phone rings at 9:17. It's my husband. Hey, honey, I answer. My voice is easy and warm. I've had 7 months of practice. Something's wrong with the accounts. He's trying to keep his voice level. My card got declined at the coffee cart downstairs, and I tried to check the business account, and there's some kind of flag on it. Do you know anything about that? A flag? That's strange. I'm watching my screen. Through the security access I still have on the firm's internal system, access he forgot to remove when he added himself as sole managing partner, I can see his assistant walking toward his office with a concerned expression. Did you call the bank? They're saying there's a review in process, some kind of audit. A pause. I hear him close a door. His voice drops. This has to be a mistake. Can you check the joint account? Maybe something triggered it on your end. Let me look, I say, not looking. It does show a pending review. It says, hold on. It says, irregular activity. Has anything unusual gone through recently? Silence. I'm sure it's nothing, I say gently. These things happen. Do you want me to call the bank? No, I've got it. His voice has shifted. The ease is gone. Listen, I have to go. Big presentation in an hour. Good luck, I say. You're going to do great. I hang up and watch through the security feed as he walks back across his office, picks up his phone, and makes 3 calls in a row. The first 2, I assume, are to the bank. The third one, from the number, is to Tara. I add the call log to the folder. At 10:15, the investor presentation falls apart. I know because Rebecca texts me. One of the Lakewood investors just called their attorney. Word travels fast when an SEC audit flag hits a development firm mid-close. At 11:30, my husband calls again. This time, he doesn't bother with the easy voice. What did you do? I'm sorry? The accounts, Serena. The audit. What did you do? I let a moment pass. Outside my window, the October light is coming through the oak in the backyard, the one we planted the year our son was born. I've been looking at that tree all morning. I filed for divorce, I tell him. This morning, Judith submitted the petition at 8:51. I hear him exhale. And the audit. The audit is the IRS doing its job, which, it turns out, is very interested in a Delaware LLC that has been receiving wire transfers from a jointly owned development firm for the past 2 years, especially when the LLC's sole listed employee has no verifiable professional credentials and has been paid over $140,000 in the past 18 months. Dead silence. I've known since March, I say, not about Tara specifically. I suspected her in May, but about the money. March. Serena. I want you to understand something. My voice is the same voice I use when I'm explaining a difficult diagnosis to a family in a waiting room. Calm, clear, precise. I didn't do this because you were sleeping with someone else. I did this because you used my name to build something and then tried to quietly cut me out of it while I was still paying the mortgage on our house. You used our family's savings to fund a parallel life. You looked at me every morning for 2 years and lied to my face. I hear something crash on his end, a phone maybe, or a glass. The Lakewood project closes Friday, I continue. Or it would have. I imagine that timeline has shifted somewhat. You might want to reach out to the investors directly, though I understand some of them have already begun making other arrangements. You can't do this. His voice is fraying now, the composure gone entirely. You don't understand what you're. Check the founding documents, I say. The ones you slid across the table at dinner. My name is still on them. I'm still a co-founder of record. I've been a silent stakeholder this entire time, which means I've had full access to the firm's financial records. Every transfer, every invoice, every payment to Tara's LLC. Silence again, but a different kind. The kind that comes right before something caves. There's one more thing, I say, the watch. What? The Rolex? I'd like it back. I paid for it. I'll have a courier arrange pickup from your office. I pause. Actually, don't worry about the office. I understand you may not have access by this afternoon. I end the call. Rebecca is standing in the doorway. She doesn't say anything. She just raises both hands like a referee, signaling a touchdown. The next 72 hours unspool the way I planned them, which is to say, they unfold like a controlled demolition. Precise, sequential, and over faster than anyone expected. By Monday afternoon, 2 of the 3 Lakewood investors have formally withdrawn. The third is on the phone with his own attorney. My husband's managing partner status at the firm is suspended pending the audit. Tara's LLC has been subpoenaed. She calls my husband 14 times in a 4-hour window. I know because he accidentally leaves his location sharing on, and I can see him sitting in the parking garage of his office building for 2 hours, not moving, presumably staring at his phone. He tries his credit cards. The personal ones are frozen, pending the divorce proceedings. The corporate card is suspended by the firm. He tries to check into the Marriott downtown and finds that the reservation in his name, the room he booked for him and Tara, charged to the corporate card 6 weeks ago, has been transferred to my name per my politely worded email to the hotel's general manager, which included proof of payment. That's where I'm staying. The room is nicer than I expected. By Tuesday, the group text has gone quiet. Our friends have seen the court filing, public record in South Carolina, and nobody quite knows what to say. I get 3 private messages, one from Lisa Mercer Patel, saying she's so sorry she had no idea she's here if I need anything. One from James Bell, awkward and stilted and clearly written by someone who feels complicit for laughing at my husband's jokes for years. And one from my husband himself, sent at 2 a.m., which reads, "I can explain everything. Please just talk to me. I'm sleeping in my car." He is, in fact, sleeping in his car. The Land Rover. I know because the tracking app we installed when our son got his learner's permit, the one my husband forgot was still connected to my phone, shows it parked outside a Walgreens on Belfair Point Drive. I don't respond. By Wednesday, the IRS review has expanded. Diana's team found 2 additional accounts my husband opened under variations of his mother's maiden name, the same pattern Rebecca predicted. The Delaware LLC is under full investigation. Tara has retained her own attorney and has reportedly begun cooperating with investigators, which, as Rebecca explains to me over takeout on my hotel room floor, is exactly what cornered people do when they realize the person they trusted put everything in their name. She's going to say she didn't know, Rebecca says. She knew about the money, I say. Whether she knew it was fraudulent is her attorney's problem. You're not angry at her. I think about that. I'm angry that he used her the way he used me, as a vehicle, as a means to an end. I set down my chopsticks. She should have known better, but so should I. Thursday, my husband shows up at my attorney's office. He doesn't have an appointment. He does have 3 days of stubble, and the look of a man who has slept in a car and eaten from drive-thrus and watched everything he built come apart in public. Judith's assistant texts me. He's in the lobby. Do you want me to call security, or do you want to talk to him? I text back, let him wait 20 minutes. Then tell him I'll speak to him in the conference room. 5 minutes, with Judith present. He looks smaller than I expected. That's always the thing they don't warn you about, how small the monster gets when you turn on the lights. He says he can fix it. He says he made mistakes. He says Tara didn't mean anything, which is a strange thing to say about a woman you've been paying $6,000 a month. He says he knows I have every right to be angry. He says he just needs time. I let him finish. Then I slide a folder across the table. That's a complete record, I tell him. Every wire transfer, every hotel charge, every payment to the LLC, every documented instance of unauthorized use of jointly held assets. Diana's team has a copy. The investors' attorneys have a copy. The firm's board has a copy. I pause. Your mother also has a copy. He goes very still. She called me yesterday, I say. She wanted to know why her son had opened accounts using her maiden name. I told her she deserved the full picture. I fold my hands on the table. She agreed. His mother has been a source of family capital for the development firm from the beginning. The inheritance she passed to him, the seed money, the trust, the decades of careful saving she did after his father died. It was in there too. Rebecca found it. I told his mother because she deserved to know, and also because she has her own attorney and her attorney had some thoughts about the matter. He doesn't speak for almost a full minute. The watch, I say finally. I meant what I said, I want it back. The courier picks it up from Judith's office the following morning. My husband hands it over without a word. 6 weeks later, I'm back in the office I've had for 11 years. My practice, my patience, my name on the door. The development firm has restructured. 3 of the 5 remaining board members reached out to ask if I would consider taking an advisory role during the transition. I said I'd think about it. I am, in fact, thinking about it, not because I want anything to do with real estate development, but because my name is on those founding documents and I intend to decide what happens to it. The divorce is not final yet. These things take time. But the financial agreements are largely settled, and what my husband thought was his, the firm, the Lakewood proceeds, the offshore account, the assets he quietly shifted out of our joint ownership over 2 years, has been methodically traced, valued, and returned to the marital estate, where it belongs, where it will be divided by a judge who has access to the same folder I put together over 7 months of very careful, very quiet work. Tara's LLC was dissolved by court order. She's cooperating. She and my husband are, from what I understand, no longer in contact, a development that surprised him more than anyone. My son came home for fall break last week. He sat with me in the kitchen for 3 hours and didn't ask me to explain anything. He just made coffee and stayed. My daughter has been quieter than usual, which I expected and which I'm watching carefully. We're seeing a family therapist, the 3 of us, on Tuesday afternoons. It's not fixed. Nothing is fixed yet. But we're in the room together and that's where it starts. Rebecca is, as of 2 weeks ago, officially my forensic consultant. I paid her properly this time. She sent me a contract and everything. The Rolex is in my jewelry box. I haven't decided what to do with it. Maybe I'll keep it. Maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I'll wear it to the Forbes interview. They reached out last month. Something about a piece they're doing on women in professional practice who've navigated significant personal challenges and come out building rather than retreating. I haven't called them back yet. I'm in no hurry. For the first time in 15 years, the timeline is mine. He thought he married a woman who would absorb whatever he did and keep the household running, and never look too closely at the finances. He thought the Rolex was a gesture that would buy him gratitude. He thought the founding documents were just paperwork. He forgot that the woman who co-signed everything he ever built was also the woman who spent a decade learning exactly how things fall apart and exactly how to make sure they fall the right way. He underestimated me once. That was the only time he got to. There's a moment, somewhere around month 4, of watching someone lie to your face every single morning when you realize that anger is not your most useful tool. I remember sitting at the kitchen island while my husband ate the breakfast I made him, watching him scroll his phone, completely at ease, and thinking, he's not afraid of me. He's never been afraid of me. He's counted on that. That was the morning everything shifted. What I've come to understand about the way consequences actually work is that they're rarely loud. They don't arrive with warning signs. They accumulate quietly, the way compound interest does, the way a foundation erodes before a wall shows a crack. My husband spent 2 years making choices, small ones, large ones, each one building on the last, and he made them believing that the ledger would never be balanced. That's the thing about people who exploit trust. They mistake patience for ignorance. They look at someone who hasn't reacted and conclude that person doesn't know. They never consider that she's just not done yet. I think about Serena, about myself, really, and what it actually took to sit with that knowledge for 7 months without flinching. People ask me how. The honest answer is that I had to care more about the outcome than about the release. Every time I wanted to confront him, I thought about what I'd have instead of evidence. A fight, denial, maybe a few weeks of performative remorse, and then nothing would change except he'd be more careful. So I chose not to. I chose the harder thing, which was to keep showing up at that kitchen island, keep making the coffee, keep acting like everything was fine, while I was building something he couldn't dismantle once I was done. That's not revenge. That's integrity applied under pressure. It means holding yourself to a standard of conduct even when the person in front of you has abandoned all of his. It means not becoming careless just because he was. It means Rebecca, who gave months of her own time because she believed in doing the right thing. It means Diana, who did her job with precision and without drama. The women who showed up in this story weren't angry. They were competent and they were principled, and those two things together turned out to be the most powerful combination in the room. The clarity it took to trace every wire transfer, read every document, understand exactly what I'd signed and what it meant, that didn't come from nowhere. It came from years of choosing to stay curious, to keep learning, to never let someone else's confidence in a subject become a reason to stop understanding it myself. The moment I stopped reading what I signed was the moment he found his opening. I won't make that mistake again. And the endurance it required, to hold the course through the loneliness of knowing what I knew, through watching him kiss my cheek and call me beautiful while texting someone else. That's something I can't fully explain, except to say that I found it. Most people find it when they have to. That's not a comforting thought, but it's a true one. He underestimated all three of those things in me: the integrity, the clarity, the endurance. He thought he married a woman who would absorb whatever he did. He forgot who built what he was so busy trying to keep.